Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the Neca Archie Adventures Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Belly Bomb figure. Belly Bomb first appeared in Archie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures number 23 from August of 1991. The storyline, The Final Conflict, ends with Cherube, the witch that turns Jess Harley into Leatherhead, and she sends Krang to a toxic waste planet called Morbus. Here, Krang meets Slash and Belly Bomb, who is a convicted criminal serving 17 life sentences for extortion, armed robbery, man-eating brain poaching, soul thievery, and impersonating a deity named Bob, which might be a Twin Peaks reference considering the time period. He's also known to have big teeth and horrendous breath. As always, Neca does a great job with their box art, especially with their Adventures line. Love this art. It's fantastic, but we're not here to talk about the box art. We're here to talk about this figure. So let's get this figure free from its plastic prison and see what we think about Belly Bomb. Fresh out the box, I absolutely love this figure. I remember seeing him while we were reading these issues for our podcast, Turtle Soup, and I was like, I don't know how this figure's going to work, and then like almost everything with Adventures, as soon as you start reading it, you just love it because that creative team and everyone involved with that line were phenomenal and just made such great stories and could take characters that looked stupid or seemed weird or whatever the case may be and just turn them into like some of your favorite characters. And Belly Bomb is just one of those obnoxious, just wild characters that they turned me around on very quickly. And Neca did a fantastic job here, absolutely bringing this figure to life in more ways than pictures can really tell you. And by that, I mean the fact that they put his eye as a ball that's like in his head, for lack of a better term, that is kind of loose to where you can move it. Oh my goodness. Like, that adds so much life and character to this figure. It's ridiculous. And just goes to show, like, the people involved with this line really love this line. And I didn't realize how much I would really love the fact that you could just move his eye and it just brings him to life. And I'm really taken with that, as well as the fact that his tongue also moves and then his mouth shuts. Yeah, we'll talk more about that in the articulation section, but it's so good. The amount of detail here is fantastic. It looks like it's going to come alive. Like, that's just so freaky, especially because this is one figure that you absolutely do not want to be real in any capacity. But regardless, this is just excellent. And looks like it just popped off the page and onto my shelf and into my hands. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just really dig it. And then also, I probably should mention the other character that this figure comes with, and that is the Adventures Krang. And the Krang figures are always kind of neat because, you know, they pack them in or they have them, you know, as their own thing, depending on which version you want and whatnot. But the Archie Adventures Krang is probably one of my favorite Krangs because we find out just how genocidal and just evil he actually is in those books, and they do such a good job here with replicating the art and bringing it to life with this figure. And the look on his face is great, and the details all in the braininess of him is just excellent, and I really dig this. Yeah, so I really dig both of these figures. So Belly Bomb comes with 7 eyeball hands, a rifle, and then the aforementioned Krang figure, if you want to consider him an accessory, which he's probably an accessory to the crimes that Belly Bomb has committed. So, you know, it works on multiple levels. All right, so now let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of Belly Bomb. So starting at the head, starting with the eye. The eye is just kind of loose in here, which is genius. I love this so much. It's fantastic. So I guess that counts as articulation. And I absolutely love it. I think it's awesome. Just It's so fun, and it just adds so much to this character. I love it so much. Anyway, the eye is in like the head that has the horns, but like it's got a more traditional head joint there at the neck, but also the neck is segmented down to the bottom of the chest, or the top of the chest, I should say. So he just has like a really long neck. And there's a ton of articulation here. You can get like 360 at the head, as well as the neck. So you can have him like all twisted around and just making all kinds of weird, like contortions, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so there's a lot of motion there. Can't really look back too much unless you like, turn him completely around and whatever. But you got a lot of options there with the head and neck joint. Moving on down, you have 360 at the shoulder, as well as a joint in the bicep, the shoulder, I should say. But mine's a little stiff, so be careful there. I don't know why I was having trouble saying there. You have a swivel joint in the forearm, elbow area, as well as a joint in there to bend it, but mine is super stuck, so I'm going to have to heat that up. You have 360 at the wrist, as well as a joint in there as well, so you can get some wiggle room once you open it up. And yeah, if this is your first time with NECA toys, you definitely want to try to either use a heat gun or a blow dryer, or just boiling water to try to loosen them up. I haven't done that yet. I probably should have, but you know what? Here we are. So moving on down to the waist, you have 360 at the waist, but I'm not going to do it all the way because I'm afraid it's a little tight. So you could probably get 360, but definitely just side to side a little bit there. Swivel action. Moving on down to the legs, pretty decent splits. You got swivel at the thigh. You have double jointed knees. Then you have an ankle rocker, as well as a joint there as well. And then also the chest opens and shuts. That's pretty fantastic. So yeah, there's some movement there. And it feels like the tongue can move, but it's pliable, but I don't know that it actually has a joint in it. I don't think it does. I don't see one necessarily, but there is. Oh, well, no, there is. Mine was a little stuck. So you can move it to the side a little bit and see if you can turn it up. You can turn it. So that's awesome. Yeah, no, I did not think that had articulation in there, but it definitely does. So that's legit. So you got some motion in there. And if I'm not mistaken, that is all the articulation you're going to get out of Belly Bomb. So according to Turtlepedia, Belly Bomb stands at 7 feet tall and weighs 400 pounds. This figure stands at around 6¼ inches tall and weighs around 7 ounces. So now let's see how he measures up to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here he is with SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Revy and Marvel Legends Wolverine. Here he is with the SH Figuarts Raphael and the NECA 1987 animated series Raphael. Here he is with the NECA knockoff colored bandana Raphael and the NECA Return to New York Donatello. Here he is with Jada Toys Dhalsim and Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection Dragon Shield Black Ranger. Here he is with Jada Toys Mega Man and NECA's Alf. Here he is with Storm Collectibles Sub-Zero and Masters of the Universe Classics web store. Here he is with the DC Classics Collect and Connect King Shark and Figma's Link. And here he is with the NECA Archie Adventures Krang and Slash. And then here's a shot of some of the other Krang figures that NECA has given us throughout the years. So again, if you haven't read the Archie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures books, please go do it. You'll do yourself a favor and do it. They're fantastic. We fell in love with them when we started reviewing them on our episodes of Turtle Soup Podcast, and they are some of my favorite turtle stories, and kind of what I always wanted the animated series to be, and kind of what I remember it being. Although, like, when we reviewed it for the show, we found out very quickly that, like, after season 1 or 2, you start to get some diminishing returns, but the Adventure series surprised us because it just kept introducing new characters and like continuity and all this cool stuff. And you would have crazy genocidal murdering felon characters just show up, and then you're like, who's this? Oh, well, now I'm scared, but like I also love this character. And that's what we got with Belly Bomb. Belly Bomb is just, the name is terrible and the look is just absurd. In fact, as I'm holding him, his action figure looks even more absurd, if you know what I'm saying. Like, especially with the one eye, like it seems like there's something there that you have to use your imagination. But you probably shouldn't, but try to keep it family friendly here. But he is a wild character, and I just really dig pretty much every character that the Archie team put out in their books, and Belly Bomb is one of them. It's just really cool and really strange and just was fun to read and added some interesting dynamics to the book for the times that he was in it. And Neca did another fantastic job bringing this figure to life in plastic form, and he looks just like he hopped off the page and onto my shelf. Like, you can't ask for much more than that. Of all the characters to do that, this would probably be one of my least wanted characters to do that because of how horrifying he looks. But he's so absurd, especially with the color scheme, that like, yes, this is terrifying, but also, I mean, I don't know, he's got a little bit of style to him, and you know, that does something to like diminish a little bit of the homicidal nature of this character. Like you're watching a documentary on like some serial killer, and you're like, how did they fall for this? Or how did this happen? And you realize that, oh, it's because he's got some like swagger, or he's got some like fashion sense. That's kind of the same thing that Belly Bomb is putting on here. Because if this dude just rolled up to you and was like, hey, get in the van, like just without this fit, like I don't think I would do it. But, you know, I mean, maybe that's just me. He's so much fun to hold and play with. And the fact that the mouth shuts and the tongue moves is really awesome. But I gotta be honest, I don't know how much I got into this earlier. I don't remember, but I don't think that even if I mentioned it earlier, I don't think I could fully express how much life the eyeball articulation adds to this figure. It does so much. I mean, just moving it around, having him look side to side and whatever is really cool. And then just making it look white, like he's like rolled his eye all the way to the back of his head. Like he looks even more terrifying like that. And I just really dig that so much, and am getting so much joy from that like that is just such a cool feature. And I'm so very glad that they did that and made it this way. And this put the figure over the top for me. If it wasn't already like there to begin with, just based on its look alone, like that feature just knocked it out of the park. Now, I will say one thing that I don't really like about this figure is that the hands that are made to hold his gun have the eye in the palm. And I understand that that's like, you know, the design, and that's how the figure is, and the character is. It makes it very difficult to hold the gun, or really just anything. And so I would have liked for them to maybe have foregone that like part of the figure and just kind of like left it kind of blank so that he could hold the gun better. But, you know, that it's a minor nitpick. It just kind of sucks, because then, you know, you're putting the gun in there and you're trying to get it to fit and stay, and you're kind of rubbing the pupil off the eye. And then it just looks like a white spot on the hand. I don't know. It's a little weird, but it's a minor nitpick. But it would have been better if he didn't have that. But, you know, whatever. And then moving on to Krang. I am a huge fan of Krang from the Archie series. I think he's probably one of the more evil versions of Krang. And then the way that Mitroni and Alan drew these characters, I'm pretty sure it was Chris Allen who was drawing Krang. Like these, I could be mistaken on that, but regardless, they have this like sort of, especially Chris Allen's artwork has this like Disney-esque-ness to it, and there's a little bit evident here, but like in the books it's a lot more present. and it's wonderful and does it just works so well with the story and the turtles in general. But like having that slight Disneyfication of a genocidal maniac is, I don't know, something about that juxtaposition is just very neat, and I really dig it. And Neca did a great job here, giving us this version of Krang. He's very brainy and just has all kinds of detail, and then the facial expression is really cool. And I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, but I was lamenting the fact that he doesn't have a hole in the bottom of his body for you to put on a Shredder's body, because spoiler alert, in the Archie Adventures book, he does end up putting himself on Shredder's body. And I recall when we reviewed it on the show, it was a little disturbing in a lot of ways, probably more than it should have been, but it was very just bizarre, and I like almost like, I don't know, like it's hard to explain. It just felt very icky, and but cool, and like and in line with his character, especially from the Archie series, where he is a lot more evil and a lot more just menacing, and despite looking like a Disney princess sort of. And so in the time that I've got this figure and been working on this review, we've had, I think it was New York Comic-Con, and we saw that they're actually making the Shredder body with the Krang head that goes on top of it. So that kind of redeems this version of this character for me. But still, that would have been neat to have, like, you know, options, especially if that one has a different facial expression. That would have been really cool. But you know, that's a minor nitpick here. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I mentioned this earlier. I've just been fidgeting with this figure of Krang while I've been reviewing it, and I just discovered that his tentacles, at least the two big ones, do move. There is articulation there, which is awesome. And so, yeah, I might have neglected to mention that in the articulation part, but here we are. I'm doing it now. So overall, huge fan of these figures and this line. It's just awesome, and I just hope Neca makes pretty much everything in this line, because I will probably buy it all. So if you're a fan of homicidal characters who have very strange names, then Belly Bomb is definitely going to fit on that shelf. If you're a collector of characters that only have one eye, Cyclops characters, Belly Bomb only has, well, that's not true. He actually has at least 3 eyes, but you know, you could still make him work on that shelf, I'm pretty sure, especially if you hide his hands, like just show the backs of them. I think it'll be all right. Or if you're a fan of characters whose mouths are still their belly button, then you will not be disappointed with Belly Bomb. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Are you a fan of the Archie series? Are you a fan of Belly Bomb? Do you want to see more Belly Bomb? And if you want to hear me talk more about Belly Bomb and the Ninja Turtles, please check out my Turtles podcast, Turtle Soup, here on YouTube. And we've got a ton of episodes that you can listen to wherever you listen to podcasts. And yeah, if any of that sounds good to you, please like and subscribe over there as well. It means a lot. And until then, else time.